Glad you worked that out. Good. How's your day going?
Okay. I finished
Just
2 filmmaker interviews, and it might be the end of the road for me for this year. I think I'm done. There was one more I was going to try and get done, and I still might, and then it kind of remains to be seen whether or not we'll be doing individual filmed introductions.
yeah, it's a lot to pile on.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll do them for everything, but
so you have filmmaker Q&As, which you're gonna make available virtually after somebody streams the film.
Yeah, they're just going to be podcasts, but they'll be you can get them on our podcast page, the Cinematech podcast page, and then you'll be able to get them on the actual page of the Eventive page where you're streaming the movie from too. So,
oh, okay.
At least that's
so it's an audio
plan.
It's just audio. Is that what you're saying?
Audio only, yeah.
Oh, okay. That sounds a lot simpler.
Well, Mike can tell you. We experimented with doing it other ways, and especially when you're working with international filmmakers and people halfway around the world. And hey, Mike.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hi, Mike. How are you?
Yeah, how are you? It's been a while. Nice to see you again.
Have we seen each other?
Yeah, you had me on years ago.
Oh, so it had to be over the phone.
Well, I think it was like this, if I recall. Maybe it was over the phone. Maybe you're right.
Or we may have done it on Skype. I'm sorry.
I think you're right. It probably was over the phone.
No, this is much better.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, I don't know how everybody feels about it, but it's kind of it's made life a little easier for doing remote things like this for me. But anyway, congratulations on pulling off a festival. It could not have been easy. It probably is never easy, even under the best of circumstances. So, but
yeah, we haven't quite gotten there yet, but thank you.
Well, meaning you're still...
Well, I mean, like it hasn't happened yet.
No.
We're always, it's over when it's over, I think.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
To borrow a phrase. But it's happening. There's no...
Absolutely. It's on. Yes.
What number of festival is this for the Wisconsin Film Festival?
I think this has got to be the 23rd. Does that sound right to you, Jim?
Yeah, 2019 would have been the 21st. So last year was our 22nd. However, whatever form it came out of, it was our 22nd, and then this would be our 23rd.
What did you end up doing last year? Because had to be...
Yeah, we canceled the whole festival 1 week after tickets went on sale. But we were able to get a certain amount of programs online during the dates of the festival. A great number of the local Wisconsin's own films, and then a small handful of the international features we were able to get up on a pay-per-view basis.
Mm-hmm. This year, you're going to have, is it a combination of, do you have in-person screenings? No, just completely virtual this year.
Entirely online, yeah.
Okay, entirely. Just going safe. Wisconsin, we're going to be cautious. Caution is the key word.
Yeah, we have a limited staff.
I see. Right.
And so I think a lot of it was, just what we could pull off given the circumstances, and then when it came to a point where we had to kind of make a decision, look, can we have anything in person this year? There's still guidelines in our county and state that would just not make it worthwhile.
I hear you.
Yeah, and also, our festival is part of the University of Wisconsin, so there's a lot of
Oh, right.
additional things to consider as
Right.
well. People, many more people need to sign off on it and get involved. So
Yeah, that's great. So you've got all sorts of protocols from a number of different sources, obviously, or that you have to satisfy to do something like
yes,
this. Yeah, makes sense. So you now, Jim, you're director of programming. Mike, you are senior programmer. Is that?
yep.
How does this work? Sort of like the president and the prime minister. One handles. Jim, do you
Well,
morally rely on like working with your partnerships and all that, or is there, and then also, or how does the breakdown work?
yeah, there is a kind of breakdown. It's not a committee. I mean, we are a team of programmers, but it's not like we gather to vote to decide on the films. And so it basically came down to, you know, a budget that we have, and Mike and I pretty much, as far as the budget that's reserved for international and American independent features that we scout, in all manner of ways. We split the budget pretty much down the middle, and we get to go and program what we want. But we're always talking, and frequently we're seeing the same films and agreeing on the films, and so that's the way it works. And then there's another section of a couple other sections of the festival that are programmed by the rest of our team.
Right. You mentioned the Wisconsin
zone, and our Ben Reiser supervises that aspect of the programming, and that is more or less set up with a committee. There's a committee of UW students and Ben who work on that together to come to an agreement about what gets shown, and then they're selected for awards consideration too. And then there's our big screen little folks, which is family and children's programming, which this year Terry Kerr headed up with her own committee. And so, but they operate independently. And I oversee programming to make sure all the pieces kind of fit together. In the end, but in this year, I think just for the fact that we're all working in our own homes and working separately, I'd say it gave everyone an even stronger individual voice in programming. I mean, there wasn't a lot of things that was necessary for me to, oversee and, veto or anything like that. Not that I do that very much anyway.
Power like
yeah,
that.
I think the programmers have, a good degree of independence. And in this year, Mike ended up selecting the lion's share of the festival that wasn't the Wisconsin zone and the big screens little folks.
Right. Mike, talk about that, because how does the last year's films compare to prior years in your experience? Were there fewer? Are there more international, maybe from countries where the COVID was solved earlier and they're back into production earlier on, or was the pool looking different?
I think that we do have a slightly trimmed down lineup this year as far as the general international slate. So we, honed in on the films that we think are just as good as would have played any year in the festival. And we also, I think, both went further afield, looking at things that weren't just at the major festivals that, of course, we attended virtually, and just tried to find some new stuff that we could bring that would be, closer to exclusive anyways, than you're able to get, with stuff that's already sort of gotten a lot of publicity.
So, are you showing? It makes sense. Maybe you would be showing fewer films.
Yeah, there's a few. I think we probably have a total of something like 57 or 8 programs that you could access, and they're all available the entire duration of the festival. And then we do have, I think that adds up to a little over 100 movies, because a few of them are shorts programs. So, it's still a good amount, and not that trimmed down compared to other years, but it's a little tighter.
Mm-hmm. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, I think the number of programs is down a little bit, and the number of films. I think part of it was just figuring out what taking a stab at the dark at how much people are going to watch at home. We're a little bit later than we usually are. We're about a month. We're happening about a month after we usually happen.
Right.
The weather's going to be a little bit nicer. More people are vaccinated. More people are going out. I think we were just trying to say, well, if we can run films in say 5 blocks of time slots, on 5 or 6 on an average day of the festival on 8 screens, and do pretty well with filling those up. How many? What's going to be the equivalent of that at home? Are people going to sit in their homes to watch 3 or 4 movies a day? And we took a guess that they'd be watching less. Mm-hmm. But it remains to be seen. We'll see. But there's certainly enough to fill a week.
Yeah, and also as we were programming towards the end, I think both of us sort of looked at what we had and felt like this is a good amount. We don't need to keep on adding things just to have a certain total. Like this felt like the right kind of festival. We've sort of achieved what we think is a good lineup.
High quality stuff too.
Right.
Only the best.
Top shelf.
At Wisconsin. I mean, you guys are great about your programming. I've been wanting to come for years. Well, speaking of kind of that part of it, now if it's virtual, right, also you can get more people. You can reach more people, right? I mean, that's hypothetically.
Potentially,
right?
Yeah.
Or theoretically. Right. So, but because the Wisconsin, your community around the festival, that core group of people, they're really fiercely loyal, aren't they? I mean, I know a couple of people in Madison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're very lucky, I think.
And they're really go ahead. Sorry, Mike.
No, yeah, our audience is very loyal, and we always can count on them to fill up the joint. And opening day of ticket sales is usually, like a kind of crush for people to get everything that they want to see. Now, it's harder to know how it's all going to shake out, I guess. But, people from across the state certainly could be seeing anything in the festival. And, there's some movies are geo-blocked, as I'm sure, you've heard about. But, theoretically, sure, there could be a lot more people attending.
Yeah, I know it'll be hard for us to know exactly how many are watching, too, because we'll get the number of views that a film will have, but it's hard to say. Is it a family of 6 that's watching it, or just one person, or more at home? So it's and that's fine with us. That as many people watch it as possible, but it's hard for us to know. But it potentially, a single film could reach a lot more people than if we were to have 2 screenings in a 400, 500 seat theater at our festival.
What are the theaters you normally utilize in Madison?
Yeah, we have 4 venues on campus.
Oh, really?
There are
makes sense.
There's a small Cinematheque space in Vilas Hall on the UW campus where we regularly have Cinematheque screenings when we're having Cinematheque screenings. And then across the street is the Chazen Museum of Art. There's another small auditorium. We use that for the festival. There's a 300 plus seat auditorium at Union South on campus. That's almost strictly used for screening movies for the Wisconsin Union Directorate Film Society. And then there's Shannon Hall, or the Union Theater at the original Memorial Union, which is 1,000 seats. Oh, wow. And then we have 3 screens at what is now AMC Madison. It was originally the AMC Sundance Cinema. So and the campus theaters are used Thursday through Sunday, and then the AMC theaters are used from Friday to the following Thursday. That's been our that's been our typical lineup for the last 10 years or so.
And what's special about the campus theaters is that a lot of them have 35 millimeter projections. So we like to show a lot of archival films, bring in archivists. We'll do silent movies with live accompaniment, try and bring in rare prints and stuff like that. So a huge part of our program is dedicated to that, and try and, we'll have visiting filmmakers choose a movie or whatever, but we try and bring in a lot of film history into the festival. And we're able to do that because we have access to all these 35 millimeter projectors.
So normally, even during the film festival, you're saying during a typical film festival, you'll show some repertories?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. A lot, quite a bit. Yeah. We usually try and tie into, what's going on in contemporary programming. Mm-hmm. For example, a few years ago, we showed Amy Scott's documentary about Hal Ashby.
Sure.
And we got a 35 millimeter print of The Landlord to run with that, and we showed The Last Detail.
Yeah. And
Blue Collar, and we're doing a little bit of that with our virtual festival this year. So we're showing this new Israeli film about called Golden Voices, which is about two the most celebrated Russian dubbers of cinema.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
They go to Israel, yes, and they're out of work, but they set themselves to try and get work in films again. And one of their causes is to bring Fellini's last film to Israel, The Voices of the Moon, The Voice of the Moon, La Voce della Luna, which is Fellini's last feature, with starring Roberto Benigni, and so we're showing them in tandem this year. So if you buy a ticket for Golden Voices, you get to see Voice of the Moon for free as well.
Oh, nice. Okay. Wait, so because I kind of remember a documentary about these dubbers in Russia. Like, one was a woman, and they were like so celebrated, these people, because of their voices. They're so famous, the voices themselves. Like, people really love those voices because it's a different way of doing it. This is not the typical dubbing. They actually just speak over. They lower the dialogue of the existing dialogue, and they fill in all the roles, right? These usually.
Well, I talked to the director of Golden Voices today, which is a fiction film. They're the characters in the film are inspired by. Oh, okay. They're kind of a composite.
Okay, I referring to a documentary. I'm pretty sure I saw some time ago.
But I asked them about that. I said we never really get a clear picture of how Reina and Victor, the main characters in the film, how they actually what their process is, and it's actually they're doing both. They're doing that process, which is a little bit quicker, of just talking over the action, and and you can actually still hear the original track in the background,
right?
But they also some Russian distributors would actually go all the way.
Oh, I see.
And spend the extra amount of time, and actually dub where they're matching the voices and matching the lips, and you don't hear the background of the original film anymore. I don't know. I think the kind of quicker way is more common today, but that's how most Russians watch non-Russian movies.
Right. Well, so if people are interested in participating in the festival, they can buy individual tickets, or do they need to get a badge? Is there both options if they want to just have an immersive experience? How's that work?
Yeah, we're selling individual tickets for $10 a pop right now. They're on sale, and then you can buy an all-you-can-eat badge for $140. Anything that's not sold out by the time of the festival, you can get into reserve tickets for them. And then we have a couple of badges or passes that would include those other sections that Jim talked about earlier, like the family movies or the Wisconsin's Own movies. But yeah, there's plenty of ways to get to see the movies.
And it's a competitive festival.
Oh, only the Wisconsin's Own films, and those have already been judged.
Oh, very good. Okay, so that's it. So there's no other. The only laureate a filmmaker can get is just being a selection in the Wisconsin. In other words, like the
think we still have an audience choice award, don't we?
Yeah,
Oh,
we have
yeah.
there's an audience award, and then the
Okay.
Wisconsin's own filmmakers can get they win a Golden Badger.
Yeah, the Golden Badger Award.
And the festival runs from the 13th through the 20th.
Yep.
We can go to Wisconsin. Did you want to mention any? I mean, I'm always kind of touchy about, do we talk about particular films, because then you leave out films too, which is always kind of can be touchy. But if you felt like you wanted to highlight anything that maybe people would miss, we're happy to do that. It's up to you guys how you.
Well, I mentioned Golden Voices. Mike, did you want to?
I guess I would just say, we're also doing, in place of Q&As, we've been doing a lot of, like Jim was talking about for Golden Voices, he talked to the filmmaker, and we're going to release these all as podcasts during the festival.
Touched on that right before you came on. Do you
okay. I didn't realize.
Cool. No, of course you wouldn't know. But did you want to just say, so people can go to, they'll be able to, once you go to the virtual catalog, right, there'll be a link and a receipt you'll get in an email, and then you can click on, brings you to there, you can watch the movie, then you'll also be able to listen to the podcast segment with the filmmaker or whomever.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just recorded one with Christian Petzold for Undina, and we've got plenty of great filmmakers. We did one with Albert Burney and Kentucky Audley for Strawberry Mansion, which I imagine you've seen. Yeah. It's great.
Can I get Christian? Does he speak a the good English? Well, he's German.
Very, very good. Yeah, it was.
Because I should bring him. I've been a big fan. I've seen all of his films too.
Absolutely, the new one's great. So we're happy to be showing it. Very
nice. Well, I'm glad you guys figured out how to do this and pull it off, and I'm sure you have an open discussion about next year already, because you'll probably have some of, I don't know how the theaters are gonna be working out, in terms of, there's so many different issues that one has to deal with. Well, and where we'll be as a country in terms of herd immunity rather. There's so many things, but I guess this next year could be a little trickier, because you'll be very tempted to do much more in person.
Well, that all remains to be seen.
Yes.
But I think Mike and I are pretty dedicated to doing all of it in person and in theaters. I think that's what we're about. I mean, Absolutely. That's what film festivals are.
That's right.
I don't really, we're really glad to be able to have this to offer for our audiences this year, and the films are stellar. And it's going to be a nice experience, but it's taking the place of something that has to be on pause right now. And
that's right.
We want people to be able to see something and see something good, but we will get back to an all cinematic festival, as soon as we're allowed. We're hoping to reopen our Cinematheque screen if probably later this summer.
Where you do where you have a film series, right?
That's right.
You have a Wisconsin Film Society.
That's right. It's the UW Cinematheque, and we run films year round. We take a few breaks between semesters, but we're usually screening multiple films over every weekend.
Well, that's going to feel very gratifying to get back into that, and where
you said it, brother.
Absolutely.
Imagine, and it's for anybody who goes to these things, and I'm certain most people that are watching this will already be part of the choir, but there's really the only thing you cannot repeat create is the experience of, virtually speaking, is the experience of lingering with filmmakers and audience members after a screening, in the lobby, at a party. It's the connecting. It's that's what the film festival is really about for so many people.
Absolutely.
But we're all really missing that right about now.
I bring it down to an even more basic thing that didn't occur to me till all of this happened. But it used to be about and it still will be about seeing something in the dark on a big screen and having the audience and lingering afterwards, or or just going home and talking about it with whoever you're with. But um, I, I think it's now it's just about the act of going, of actually making the trip out of your home, and and just going to the movies, not just to see something in a big screen with an audience, but just to go, just to have a destination. I mean, that's what I'm most looking forward to.
I hear you. I just, as I was taking a walk earlier, and I passed by. I kind of moved up to this area north of the New York City not long ago, last year, and there's a movie theater, and I just never. I drive by it, but I was actually walking, and so I kind of went in because it's kind of set back the theater itself. There's like a big parking lot area. It was very large amount of space, and then but I walked in and I was seeing, and I saw somebody going in, and I looked at the it's not a marquee, it's a sign, but it's saying what the movies are by the road, and they're all new movies. I was like, oh, they've got to be doing something limited there. How exciting! I've got to get over there and just, my goodness, is Nomadland and The Father and these new titles.
Yeah, it's incredible to go back. I recommend it if you're up for it. Yeah.
Well, I've been, Mike, we've been talking and emailing over the years, and getting inching closer and closer to me getting back. I spent I've been to Madison a number of times, but it's been many years since, and I've been wanting to come check out the festival for years. So I'll just have to be patient at least one more year.
Yeah, hopefully next year we'll be ready to roll.
We'd love to have you join us.
Yeah, I'd love that. Well, thank you guys. Again, the Wisconsin Film Festival, May 13th through the 20th. Check out, what's the website is Wisconsin?
It's wifilmfest.org, or you can just, if you want to get straight down to business, you can go to watch. It's at Eventive. Like it's, probably just go to wifilmfest.org and you can find it from there. Right. But yeah, we're on Eventive this year. That's the platform we're using.
Eventive?
Yep.
Right. Okay. Anything else, guys? Or this is so nice to sit down with you both.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Anytime. I love talking to the film festivals, and I'm just trying to get people involved and be part of it. You mentioned audience awards, just to wind it down, but you mentioned there's audience. It's fun. It's great for audience people. You can vote on films, and you could be participate in the getting somebody an award, film an award, which it's really important for so many films to have that. Especially from the Wisconsin Film Festival. It's some pedigree for the film, for Pete's sake. All right, guys.
That's right.
All right. Well, best of luck with. I hope I can catch some titles myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to connect and make sure I get some sort of pass. And so there's a number of titles I was interested in seeing. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks for having us.
Okay, Adam. Thanks a lot.
We'll do it again next year.
Great.
Yep.